You know, this crazy Frenchman who went up and down the rivers carrying like 600 pounds of like pelts. That's Martin Gallant.
He's the hustler, the godfather, and we love him.
He was in the heyday of snowboarding, you know, when he was first becoming a pro snowboarder. It was in the days of Andy Hetzel and Kemper snowboards.
He was always like the crazy one, like most of the time he was the one always like go bigger than everyone. That was his trademark and it doesn't always work.
It was cool. My dad lived in Montreal downtown, so we grew up, we just skateboard downtown Montreal in the back alleys and stuff like that. And my mom lived in Saint-Jérôme, so close to the snowboard resort. And in the winter time we used to put straps on our skateboards and take off the trucks and go down the hill at the park.
It was kind of outlaw in Quebec back in those days. Organized sport, we played hockey while we were still skating and stuff, but it's not, nobody tells you what to do. You do it your own way, you know?
All the first snowboard ever made were made in my town beside my cousin's place. So I'm all like, go knock at the door, ask them if we can have some boards. Company called Nortec. Lofo used to work there. He's the guy who invented the high backs and everything. That was his shop. After that, they giving me all the free snowboard. And I remember they give me $100 bill and they say, go have fun this weekend, Martin. I saw the movie Snowboarding in Exile with Damien Sanders hitting the wind lip. And after we saw that, we all like, we're moving out west, we're gonna go hit the wind lip. So me and my friend Fat Pat, we bought a Maverick car, stylish car, and we hit the road.
I think I was sharing a place with KY at the time. And we get a knock on our door or whatever, and it's like Martin Gallant, his buddy Pat Van, and they'd literally driven across Canada in like 72 hours or something. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll just stay for like a week, man. You know, and like 2 months later, he's still couch surfing.
I just went up one afternoon with Eric Berger. We went up on Blackcomb and he shot a picture like this. And I opened the Transworld and I was on the centerfold. After that, the phone started ringing and it was Kemper Snowboard. And they all like, hey, we want to sponsor you. You're going to do all the contests, this, that. And it all got started real fast, just like that.
He came here, he was still jibbing and would go back and do some story with Iguchi in Montreal, doing some rail trip, and after that come back here and towards, I don't know, he changed his style to Big Mountain, and that's when he kind of really take off. And
I mean, at first it was like more balls and energy than it was talent or refinement, but I think that switched over pretty quickly. He adapted to the bigger mountains, he adapted to the deeper snowpack, and you know, he was logging 100 days or plus a year. And within a couple years, for sure, he was stepping up to some bigger and bigger stuff, doing really creative lines, and it was pretty clear he was gonna stay that way, keep going.
In the mid-90s in Whistler, pretty much everyone was sponsored, you know, like it went crazy, but he was one of the first ones to start getting paid. Thing in Canadian snowboarding, like he's a pioneer for sure.
All I could say in English is like, where's the launch? Where's the launch? Calling it their launch ramp like we built in the back alley, you know? So it's all I was screaming, where's the launch? I just wanted to jump, I had no fear, you know, I was young, let's bring me the launch.
I think I heard Martin before I ever saw him, because there was a mad Frenchman behind me yelling, where the launch?
He just grows on you so much, and everyone respected his riding. I mean, the guy charged, so like you can't not love him.
I think that Martin took a page out of the whiskey book when, like, if nobody's gonna do it for you, just do it yourself.
We were younger, we want to see freestyle, you know, we were more in the Mad Dog.
So I told my brother, hey, let's buy a motorhome and a video camera and let's go on the road and we'll sell the footage to the Adventure Scope movie at the time. And we bought a computer to do the editing, and there it was. We start making snowboard video called The Gathering. And we wanted to keep the gang tight, you know, and that's what it did for 5 years, The Gathering Collective. It gave us, all of us, work, and it kept the whole gang for another 5 years in Whistler, you know, with busy and going by and having fun, you know.
He really guided all these guys, you know, the JF Pelchas, the Mike Page, DCP, all that whole 418 crew in the heyday of the 418. He really kind of molded them and showed them how to ride big mountains and how to be safe in the big mountains, and it was impressive, you know. And I obviously learned everything I know about the backcountry. I learned from Martin.
But I think because of the gathering and Martin and O'Dowd and those guys, because of that movie, everybody like DCP and those guys are where they are today, you know.
But he just seemed like every year he would just still produce a good video part and still produce these movies and do everything, filming, and pretty impressive to be able to do those two things together.
I've always said that he's like a photographer's best friend because he knows when, if a motion shot's not going to work, he's going to put something down that the photographer's going to get something good out of.
Hey, Surface man, I come up with you, and when they build a jump, we go over there and I do a method, man. Sick cover for sure, man. There's only a few riders that can actually see what a photographer sees, and he'll know. He'll basically be like, I'm gonna jump off here, I'm gonna do a method, you're gonna stand there, and it's gonna be sick. And it always is.
He goes, wanders around, finds something to do, goes to a different crew, say, hey, photographer, man, come with me, I got something sick. He grabs other people photographer, and he goes to the next crew, he see what he can do around that crew. He's like, hey, okay, I'll be doing this. You know, Martin is progressive, I could say. He's accepted because that's who he is, you know? And he's funny because people want to see a show at the same time. He'll give you a show. He's gonna talk to you guys, hey, you don't do this, you don't do that. And it's amazing. So it's kind of a soap opera in the backcountry when Martin's. He knows when it's time to be on it. And you know, sometimes I have heard him a couple of years, you know, ride probably like 20 times. Like, oh yeah, my season's done, I got all my picture.
You can learn a lot from him just because he's a really good teacher, and he really loves to show people what he knows.
I think he's got an innate sense for what's ahead of him on a hill. He has a really good ability to predict what he's going to face on the next turn.
What stimulates me the most in snowboarding is doing a first descent, a cliff that's never been jumped before, and you're at the bottom of the mountain and you imagine yourself coming down, and you got to record every single little rock, every turn, and make your cliff and make it down to the mountain.
He's sort of one of those guys who's the ultimate blend of freestyle and big mountain, and likes the challenge of riding terrain that's either unpredictable or always new and always ever changing.
Hey, I'm gonna make 3 turns. 1, 2, 3, beside the next rock. I always count on my fingers, gonna be my takeoff. I'm gonna jump that rock, I'm gonna land, and I'm gonna make it down on my feet, you know. And that's what may still make me go out there till this day.
His thing was always just to charge like craziest line, and like just shit that you make it or you might not make it.
You know, he gets into an area and he just doesn't mess around. He kind of knows where the light's going, and he knows how to pick lines out really well.
Martin did it all on his own. He stayed at it regardless of anyone, you know, giving him money to do it. So he's a purist. He is the soul of what, you know, big mountain backcountry snowboarding is all about. Like he's the man.
I think Martin is a free spirit, living the dream, man. And you always hear about him, crazy story, where he's been for 2 months, surfing.
I think I came from the best snowboard era. It was the beginning, it was go, 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 you know, and that's how I grew up. That's what all these boys show me when I move out west. They didn't care about nothing, so I just followed their path. It's all it was since day one, and I think if I keep that mentality straight in there, I'll keep snowboarding and I'll stay young for the rest of my life.
He must love it. And he likes the adventure, so that's amazing. You keep going that, keep going out there like that. It takes a toll on you.
And I think it's just so good to hear that he's still doing it. He still loves riding. It's an inspiration to me. You know, guys like that keep me riding too.
I think everything kind of ties back to Martin's attitude. I mean, he's a kid at heart with just decades of experience.
Like, it's pretty cool that he's done something that, you know, people remember always in a sport we love, you know. It's a pretty cool thing, man.
Huge respect for every single French Canadian out there, man, but they all owe him for sure for leading the way.
The way he decides his life, I think, is I will do whatever I want for all my life.
I'm very happy to be here in BC, and I've been collecting some logs for years and years with my brother, and we're about to put up a little log cabin, so that'll be a busy summer project. And yes, I'm pretty much the same little kid. I think all of us, the snowboarders, we all got frozen in time from sitting on that cold chair for so many years.